I'm going to share some powerful information with you, and I'm going to share this video with you that I just watched a few minutes ago by Miss Sherry Peel Jackson. She's one of my most favorite persons to listen to about how to stick it to the IRS. In fact, I have her book within arm's reach, How to Stick It to the IRS, Former Confessions from an Insider. And oftentimes, and she also co-authored this book with IRS tax attorney Donald W. McPherson. Donald W. McPherson. And oftentimes, I always get is tax even legal to pay taxes? We see right now that President Biden has passed the inflation tax law that's going to benefit the rich and have incentives for EV, electronic vehicles, solar panels, green energy, and it's going to make the poor working class and the middle class inflation tax higher, and gas prices is going to be higher as well going into this winter and fall year of 2022 going into the first quarter of 2023. Now, I could elaborate on that about gas prices going to increase. They're already talking about a 3 million barrel shortage going on right now. And OPEC will meet September the 5th to talk about the shortage of production of oil barrels. And I'm just informing people right now that we are going through a financial monetary system reset. We are experiencing the greatest reset that this generation ever has faced. And it's an opportunity right now for people to become really rich or really poor. There's no in between. And so I'm going to share this video with you, but I'm going to give you some insight and enlighten you about who Miss Sherry Peel Jackson is. And again, this is directly from her book, How to Stick It to the IRS. Now, Miss Sherry Peel Jackson is a retired CPA, which is abbreviated for Certified Public Accountant, a certified fraud examiner, and a former IRS agent. She has over 30 years in public and private governmental accounting. She was thrust into the spotlight for taking a stand against government theft, and she was landed into federal prison for 3 years. She has a passion for delivering financial education. That's why I'm attracted to her. And training people who are determined to take control of their financial future. Ms. Jackson conducts basic and advanced financial seminars across the United States. She helps um, financial institution, private companies, nonprofit organization, and churches. She lived at the time of this writing in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And oftentimes, when people ask me about becoming a sovereign citizen, she's going to address this when she exposed the true tax laws, right, about the illegalness of paying taxes. Again, she was arrested by the FBI and sentenced to 3 years in federal prison. So this is why I tell people this sovereign citizenship. Not only do you have to live like a pauper, if you ever get to that point of status and be harassed by the police officials or the powers that be, if you stop and show proof of your sovereign citizenship, but it's not, in my opinion, even worth it, because if you are really doing sovereign citizenship, if I can say that right, the correct way, you're going to be harassed by government, a possibility of even being arrested for being a whistleblower, and you get outside the system. That means that you cannot use your social security number or a federal tax ID number to earn income and to take advantage of the tax strategies that this country has. So I definitely do not recommend that. Again, if you want to live in poverty, if you want to live like a pauper, if you want to spend years and years of research doing that, this is not the video for you. But if you want the more effective way. If you don't want to go through getting arrested like Sherry Peel Jackson and FBI for being a whistleblower. And then she changed her message from now being a whistleblower about is it even legal to pay taxes to now telling people the advantages of having a home-based business. And this is my point and purpose of this video. A home-based business, for example, and major things that you can get is you have a business that you can work at from home, meaning you don't have to drive to an office or a second job. You don't have to commute anywhere. You have lower overhead costs. Obviously, you already live in your home or your apartment. Now you can turn that place that you live into a place of business and start making money there without ever going outside of your home. This gives you tax write-offs that you can't even imagine. Home-based business is mentioned so many times in the tax code. I don't even know all of it, right? My accountant, my CPA tells me about the new tax changes and deductions at the end of the year. And I get write-offs and expenses because of the business, right? So there's so many benefits. I'm going to allow you all to listen in on her interview, right? But having a home-based business allows you to write out pretty much everything in your life that you already do. Like most of us have a cell phone. A cell phone is now a business write-off. In fact, you can put your cell phone in your business name. Right? My daughter has articles in corporations. Her cell phone is in her business name. She now is building business credit under the cell phone plan through the home-based business, right? We get to write off our meals, our travel, our car, depreciation, advertising, even when we travel out of country and out of state, things you can't do in a traditional brick and mortar business. Until my daughter turned the age of 18, right? I was able to pay her up to $1,000 a month and get that money back and tax write-off up to $12,400 a year. So the whole purpose of a home-based business is not only to grow your money, but to get the money back that you're spending out already. And this is the point. Most people, they only look at getting more money, putting more time for the same amount of dollars. They don't ever look at getting the money back that you're already spending. A percentage of your utilities you get back. And if you don't have this in place for this Jubilee, for this great reset, with again, President Biden said signing the new inflation tax laws, a lot of the middle class is going to get poorer and the rich is going to get richer. Our politicians, Democrats and Republicans, the House and the Senate are voting together on these tax laws. And many of them, most of them, in fact, all of them, have home-based business tax deductions. This is why the real reason why they didn't want President Trump's tax paperwork to be exposed, right? When Hillary Clinton said that when they were debating, President Trump responded, "I'm smart," right? And before we get into President Trump and you want to comment that this is tax um, evasion that he's doing, I want to bring this to your attention. Number one, how many times have you seen the FBI knock on someone's door and then did not arrest them on site? Right. First of all, he did not get arrested on site. So this is not tax evasion. This is not illegal. These are tax strategies, right? And I'm going to, again, another person, and we're about to go into this video that I love that talks about the power of a home-based business, is Dr. Lynn Richardson. These two Black women, and also I have Sandy Botkins, former IRS attorney, books as well. Robert Kiyosaki talks about this, that you can have a home-based business. This is Sandy Botkins' book. And it can transition you out of your job, not only for the money that you can make, but for the money that you can get back, that you're spending anyway. So let's watch this video. This is very powerful. I know you all are going to enjoy it, from Miss Sherry Peel Jackson, breaking down why you need and should have, right, a home-based business.
I know you homeschool your children, Miss Jackson, and I know you got a lot of family support, but you can't run around the country telling people not to file income tax returns. At the IRS, I was told that we were collecting the tax and doing our duty, as federal employees to collect the right amount of tax. When I left the IRS, I started being approached by a lot of people that said, hey, the income tax is being misrepresented and misapplied to the American people. Eventually, I did the research and found out that they were telling the truth and that our resources are being stolen by the government.
So why did you leave the IRS? How did that end up? Just retired?
I left the IRS for family reasons. I was promoted and moving up in rank in the IRS, and I'm a family person. They were taking too much of my time away from my family, so I decided to leave. I was already a CPA, so I said I'll do a CPA firm from home and take better care of my family. That's when people stopped being afraid to talk to me about the taxation.
So what happens next? Tell me the story. What goes on?
So many different people started talking to me about the taxation being misrepresented or being a fraud. And I eventually researched it because someone brought to my attention a USA Today article. It was 2000. It was summer of 2000. And it was put out by We the People Foundation for Constitutional Education. And it said, "Dear We the People, the income tax is a fraud." But also within the body of that USA Today ad was a $50,000 reward from a man named William Conklin. And Bill Conklin asked anybody that could prove that most Americans that live and work in the 50 states had to file an income tax return or was required to pay. So at that point, I decided, I've been hearing all these people and I want to go ahead and do the research. Actually, I wanted to win that 50 grand.
Okay.
So I still had my codes and regulations from when I left the IRS, and I started doing the research. And then weeks went by, and then months went by, and I realized it's really hard here. Why is it so hard for me to just come out and show in the codes and regulations that the people have to pay the tax? And the conclusion that I came to was there's no law. There's a lot behind that, but there's no law. One of the largest things that people don't understand that talks about, if you have this taxable income or this gross income, but there's no definition of income in the Internal Revenue Code. So once the research was done, the definition of income turned out to be corporate profit. And so that.
So she's saying there's no definition of income in the IRS tax revenue code. Again, this is not a video about sovereign citizenship. I'm not for it, but I am exposing the truth about it. And again, many reasons why I'm not for it, right? FBI, you're out of the system of earning money as a corporation and an individual under your 9-digit social security number, right? And I believe there's a better way. I'm not talking about tax evasion. I'm talking about tax maximization legally, morally, and ethically that many people do not know about. And now is the time to know about this more than ever with the tax strategies that President Biden is implementing for this currency system reset.
That's why some people say they've tried to make us out of corporations. But when I cut your grass, let's say you paid me $100 to cut your grass. So I use my mind and my arms and my legs to cut your grass. That's an even exchange. I exchange my time and my talents and my energy for resources that will help me to survive. That's not taxable. It should not be taxable. You take, for example, a large department store and it makes $100,000 in a day. It gets to deduct the rent from the building, the salaries that it paid, the utilities and all that. And at the end of the day, if they had $80,000 in expenses, they are taxed on only $20,000. They're taxed on the corporate profit. So we are getting screwed over. And one of the things that resounded in my head, and I saw this poster, and I actually have this poster posted in my office, in my home office. It says, if stealing 100% of the product of someone's labor is slavery, at what percentage is it not slavery? So it doesn't matter whether you're black, white, green, purple, or blue with polka dots, you are a slave. And my people have already been through slavery. I don't want to go through slavery again. But I realized at that point that I'm still a slave. And most Americans are. But there's so much information out there and there's so much distraction out there. But the biggest thing that's out there, there's so much fear out there. And when you talk to people about their rights and their liberties and all that, they would rather stay in the matrix and choke on the blue pill because they're too afraid to deal with the government. They don't want to rock the boat and they want to stay in their comfort zone. They want to stay in their circle of sameness and you have to leave them there. But for those that want freedom, God gave us unalienable rights, not inalienable rights, unalienable rights. That means that we have rights that can't be leaned by anybody. We have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they've been taken away by the various governments, not just in the United States, but around the world. And I met so many people here from different places all across the globe, but everybody wants the same thing. Everybody wants freedom. And we want freedom from government, freedom from taxation, freedom from people taking what belongs to us, making laws, and giving it to somebody else.
You were talking about staying in the matrix, but I mean, what happened to you? Didn't they throw you in the can?
Well, yes. When I had a choice when I started doing this research. So I went down the rabbit hole of the taxation, which led me to another rabbit hole called the Federal Reserve. I was given Ed Griffin's book called The Creature from Jekyll Island. It's a very thick book, but I couldn't put the book down. And I was so appalled at what happened and how we got into this mess by the wealthy banking families. When I finished reading The Creature from Jekyll Island, I had one of those turning points, that crossing the Rubicon turning point, because I said, I worked hard. I had a system where I would work sometimes even 16 hours a day, trying to make ends meet for my family and then have a nice life, go on nice vacations, go to Mexico and Venezuela and Jamaica and places like that. But in order to do that, you're working hours and hours. But I realized when the Federal Reserve isn't federal and all this money, millions of dollars in interest is being collected from the American people, the IRS are the bouncers for the Federal Reserve Club and they're taking this money. So at the end of the year or in tax season, for my CPA firm to have to write a check for $15,000 or $20,000, it wasn't going towards fixing the roads because the gas tax took care of that. It wasn't going towards helping pay the policemen and the teachers because the real estate taxes paid for that. Well, where was all this money going? It's going towards the...
So let's bring this out, right? She said the gas tax fixed the road, right? The real estate tax and even your state and local tax goes towards your school system and teachers' pay and all of this, right? So this is why, right, you need a home-based business. She also emphasized that she works 16 hours a day. You got a lot of small business owners that put in hours and hours of labor a day, exchanging their time for money. And this is what Robert Kiyosaki came in and taught about the cash flow quadrant, which I'll teach you all about that later after this video, right? Also note, visit my website to learn about these tax strategies. You get an instant pay raise out of your paycheck if you earn money through a paycheck. If you're a small business owner, self-employed, you're your own boss, you have approximately 4 months. So employees and entrepreneurs throughout this year, you have 4 months for 2022 to take advantage of these over 470 tax deductions, right? And I'm telling you right now, for this financial system reset, see, rich people, they hustle for more money. Wealthy people know how to keep their money. It's a difference, right? You cannot outwork and outpace inflation. And this is why you're spinning your wheels. You're in this rat race. Even 2 jobs is not helping you. Now more than ever, Americans have 2 full-time jobs. Because again, you're getting the same amount of money and you're not outpacing inflation. So what you have to do is get your money back. Get the 30% that you're being taxed on, right? You got FICA that comes out your paycheck. You got federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security and Medicare. Small business owners, the more money they make, the higher tax bracket they're put in, the more the government takes. So a home-based business is the only way to get your money back and get residual income where you don't own a business OWN, or you're not on a job ON, but you own OWN, a business system. And these are all the secrets, all the strategies that the rich and wealthy know and they implement.
The Federal Reserve, the debt. You can go out online and look at that debt clock, and it's ticking crazy. And your children are born at least $50,000 in debt as we speak because of the Federal Reserve interest. So why do they have authority over us? Well, the Congress gave them the authority. They gave the Federal Reserve authority over us to collect this money. So these wealthy banking families, their children's children will never have to work a day in their life. And I'm sitting here slaving at my desk, trying to stay awake to get all these audit reports done so my family can make ends meet. And I just had that thing where I said, no, I'm not doing it. So I actually stopped filing tax returns. This was 2000. So by the time 2004 rolled along, I hadn't filed any taxes and I was speaking out. Me and Joe Bannister and some other former IRS agents and others were speaking out. We weren't telling people to file or not to file. We weren't telling people to pay or not to pay. We were telling people to do their own research, do your due diligence, and decide whether you want to be a slave or get off the plantation. So they started hating us. And in 2004, they came in the summertime and raided my home. They came in armed, 15 to 20 agents, had laser tag on my head, opened the door, federal agents come in. They came in and swarmed the house, and they were there from 7:45 in the morning until 5 o'clock. And they took away like 32 boxes. And this was 2004. And they went through those boxes and they started interviewing people. And by 2007, they couldn't find a felony. They found a homeschooling family that was just trying to live their life. So they decided that I was still too much of a big mouth, and they brought charges against me on a misdemeanor. So you can't indict. The indictment is for felony. So they brought an information. And information is when you're bringing charges, misdemeanor charges against someone. So for 4 years, 2000 to 2003, they brought charges of willful failure to file tax returns, which is a misdemeanor. They took me to court. They wouldn't let me talk about the law. They wouldn't let me talk about the experiences that I had going to Congress and asking the Congress people. And they wouldn't let me talk about the Supreme Court cases and the state Supreme Court cases that were researched to show that the resources that we earn are not taxable. So, and the jury was so afraid that they might be audited that concurrent, consecutive, 4 consecutive years. And of course, most people know that some felons don't even get a 4-year sentence. I ended up serving 3 of those years in a federal prison. I got 6 months off for good time. I got 6 months off for halfway house. But I lost 3 years of my life in a federal prison because I dared to come out and say that you all need to figure out what you want to do for your own self and your family, because all of us are slaves. One of the other things about this issue of taxation being slavery, it's a racially unifying issue. And I think they were also afraid of that because it doesn't matter what color you are. People were coming together from all walks of life saying, wait a minute, I need to check this out. And that scared them also. And during the sentencing, the judge looked at me and she said to me in her Southern voice, I know you homeschool your children, Miss Jackson. And I know you got a lot of family support, but you can't run around the country telling people not to file income tax returns. And I looked dead in her face and I said, I've never done that, because I never did. So that told me and everybody else that this wasn't about the fact that I chose to keep what I earned. It was about the fact that I was running around telling people to look and do your research and bringing people together from all walks of life, saying that we're all being made sheeple and we're all being corralled in a sheeple corral and we need to get out.
There's a lot of issues out there that they seem to wrap race into to keep people from actually looking at the facts and keep them emotionally charged in the wrong direction, if I'm describing that correctly.
Yes.
What do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, the enemies MO has always been divide and conquer. Go back to, what is his name? Sun Tzu, always has been divide and conquer. So if they can divide us by race, you're white, I'm black. Or religion, I'm a Christian, you a Jew, or you a Muslim. They just keep that going, and they keep that in the media. And what they do is they keep us focused on that, and they keep us away from what they're doing behind the scenes. So it's a division that is a false division, because we all have the same color blood. We all have the same color blood. And when we realize that they are the ones that are causing this division in the mainstream media, the main scheme media, and we stop paying attention to that and go to alternative media and start reading books, then we'll start getting together. We'll stop trying to fight each other on these political issues or these racial issues and say, wait a minute, if we keep paying attention to fighting each other, pretty soon we're going to be locked up in a sheep corral and we won't be able to get out. I'm not saying don't entertain yourself. You know, you work hard. Everybody works hard. You need some kind of entertainment, but don't spend so much time entertaining yourself. Don't come home from work and sit in front of the television and watch it until it watches you, because you're putting your time and energy into somebody else getting rich. You need resources to set yourself and your family up to live free. It's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be cheap, and it's not going to be free. Nobody's going to bring the unicorns and bring you the free stuff. Then there are no trees out there being planted that grow money. You got to do this on your own. I don't care what any politician tells you. If it was going to happen, it would have happened decades ago. But the Democrats and the Republicans, they're sleeping in the same bed and they're raping us all. So get your mind off politics, get your mind on your family, and start doing the things that are going to make your family thrive.
Very powerful there. Democrats, Republicans sleeping in the same bed. I tell people that they are on the same team, left wing, right wing, same bird. You can take this information and you can go to your church and talk about it. You can go to your beautician and talk about it at the beautician shop or barber shop and talk about it. But after you talk about it, are you going to take the necessary actions to legally get out of the system? Right? Are you going to spend years trying to get sovereign citizenship and then have to live off the grid, live like a pauper? Are you even financially stable enough for that if you don't get arrested or harassed by government? So people, we have to stop having these meaningless conversations without action implementation. Let me say that again. We have to stop having these debates and meaningless conversation without action implementation. So we're gonna listen all the way. This interview is only 20 minutes long, but I want to play at least 3 to 4 more minutes. So not only will you have the mindset, but now you'll have the skill set and the system you need to get out of the taxation system so you can start producing your own freedom and residual income and start investing with the money that you're getting back from the money that you're already making.
I'm working on that right now with my family. I have a 5-year-old granddaughter. My 5-year-old granddaughter has a passport. If you don't have a passport, shame on you. Because when the excrement hits the portable cooling device, you need to be able to go somewhere else. You can't have all your eggs in one basket. These are things that sound simple to a lot of people, but a lot of people never heard of this because they're concentrating on whatever those shows are on television and whatever is going on with the football games and all of that stuff. And still, until Tom Brady starts stroking me a check, my team is the Jackson team. I call the IRS the insidious representatives of Satan. So they represent the corporatocracy. The government, the banksters, and the corporations work together. And, you know, if you notice, the people that leave the government, they go straight into the corporations or to the banks, and it's just a revolving door. Well, they're out there to collect funds from mostly the middle class, because if you notice, corporations don't pay taxes, and a lot of times The corporate owners and the CEOs don't pay tax. They make a lot of money. They don't pay tax. So in the election where Hillary Clinton and Trump, Hillary said Donald Trump didn't pay his taxes, and everybody said, and they sucked all the air out of the room, and they started running to me. Did you hear? See there? That's why he doesn't need to be president. He didn't pay his taxes. And I automatically knew, he said he was a smart man. He used net operating losses. The tax code is set up for people that have businesses. Everybody out there needs to get a legitimate home-based business, and you'll be able to write off stuff, and you may reduce or even eliminate your taxes, but that's not what they're paying attention to. So yes, the IRS has to understand what the tax code says about businesses, and people take advantage of it. A lot of people here have told me, yes, I'm a business owner. And what I do is I help people to reduce the amount of tax, not trying to cut the head off the beast like I did and just say, I'm not paying because it's mine. That got me locked up. I don't want anybody to ever have to go through what I went through. Nobody, ever. So 99% of the people in most countries are not going to come up against the government or come up against their form of IRS like I did, but they are willing to starve the beast by learning ways to work within the system to reduce or eliminate taxes.
Give us the top three simple things people can do to move their way towards out of slavery.
Out of slavery. Get out of debt, get out of debt, get out of debt. That's number one. Number two, start a business and start writing off things that you already pay money for, but you can't write off. If you have a cell phone, if you have just a job, you can't write off your cell phone. But when you have a business, you can write off your cell phone and your internet and things like that. And third, take the money that you start earning, whether you get a tax refund or an inheritance or whatever. Don't go buy a new car with that. Don't go to the mall and buy a whole bunch of clothes and stuff like that. Invest that money in hard assets. And what I mean by hard assets is things that won't disappear with the blink of an eye. You've got silver, you've got gold, you got crypto, you got real estate, all these things. People that make money invest their money.
Okay, we have to pause for the cause right there. Let's stop. Right? Gold, silver, cryptocurrency, real estate, the four things, the chess moves that I'm teaching you all, the millionaire moves to make, right? She said people that have money invest their money. That's another thing that the middle class and poor working class do not do. Many times people get 3-4 figures back in tax returns. They never invested. Again, the rich know how to get money. The wealthy know how to keep it, right? Do not invest in things right now that's cash value in return. Why? Because since 1913, cash has lost 2,000% of its value. The most cash that was created from 20 new cash, new currency from 2019 during the shutdown, right? All the way up to 2020. And circulation. So again, with these new tax laws, it's going to give incentives to the rich to get EV vehicles as the price of gas, right, is going to spike up this fall and this winter. Again, over 3 million barrels of oil will be lost by November. I'm going to show you that in a news article. But again, let's listen in and let her finish what she's saying. But I want to pause because I'm showing you all what moves you need to make for this currency system reset.
They don't wear it on their backs. They don't drive it. This country, at least the United States, was set up as a constitutional republic. And one of the founding fathers said to someone who was asking, what kind of government did you all make? And he said, it's a republic if you can keep it. And so that hasn't happened. Through greed and avarice, the system has made certain people above other people. With certain laws being put in place by certain people, they've gotten really, really rich. And then there are other people that are really, really poor and uneducated. And I'm not talking about education in the government schools. I'm talking about education about life, learning how to read, write, do math, critical thinking. Wisdom, strategic thinking. So if you grew up in a family like a lot of my family members or my great grandparents that weren't allowed to read and weren't allowed to do certain things, then you got to jump ahead. You're behind by 100 yards and you got to catch up. Well, some people have the incentive to catch up, but some people want to stay back there and, be the victim. I don't like the victim thing. I like being a victor. So what we have to do is we have to move forward. This country is like Rome. Rome fell from within. I don't know how long it's going to take, but $23 trillion in debt is not sustainable. Q 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 18, 20 is not going to work. So kicking the can down the road has been working, but what's going to happen is there is a dead end coming. So we don't know what's going to happen, but we know it's going to happen. So people need to start preparing however they're going to prepare for their families, for their future. It's not going to work. Democracy as it has failed us. The constitutional republic really never did get sprouted because people got greedy and decided, let's make these laws. Let's be able to take this money from these people and utilize it and give it to these people and pacify these other people by giving them stuff so they'll vote for us again next year.
So what's next? What's coming down the road?
What's coming down the road is going to be probably an economic collapse. And I don't know how long. Some people are saying 18 months. Some people are saying 3 years. I don't know. But what I do know is people need to start getting prepared. You can't, using the Hurricane Katrina for an example, that hurricane that hit New Orleans, everybody and their grandmother knew that hurricane was coming. Everybody knew. Certain people said, okay, I think I need to pack up. I need to board up my windows and I need to go to my relatives in Seattle. A lot of people did that. Those are the people who had, some forewarning and common sense. Then there were people that waited till the last minute and they got out at the last minute.
Got stuck in a Superdome.
Well, no, those are the people who did not move. You know why? Because they had not had their resources in place to go anywhere. These are the people that were very, very poor. Some of them were on government assistance and some of them didn't have vehicles. They're used to public transportation. And yes, they got stuck in the Superdome. The people that have any sense right now are doing something about it. The United States is losing 300,000 people every year. These people are expatriating. They are giving up their U.S. citizenship. United States is having what we call a brain drain. Pay attention. The people that have wherewithal are at least getting residency somewhere else, if not leaving and giving up U.S. citizenship altogether, because they see what's coming down the road. And when that excrement finally hits the portable cooling device, they will be elsewhere looking back at the people who got left in the proverbial Superdome.
So what are you doing? Are you trying to get out of the States?
I have some property in Costa Rica, in the process on the East Coast, just like what we learned about, it's not very developed. They don't have Hiltons. They don't have Hyatts.
I've been over there.
Okay. So
Limon,
near Limon, between Limon and Puerto Viejo. And, my family will have some place to go when the wheels come off. We won't starve to death because, of course, there's food on all the trees. We won't freeze to death because it's nice and warm. We might get a little hot sometimes. And we'll be able to have resources come in for those who are still able to travel. They'll be able to visit and vacation there. So I am preparing. Most people here are in the mode of preparing. Some people are already prepared. That's great. And it's great that in this place, those that are prepared are helping the other ones because they want to be able to help other people. And it's not often that people that are preparing or prepared get with other people that want to do the same thing. You kind of have to keep your mouth closed a lot of times when you're at home because they're talking about who won the basketball game or those kinds of things. You keep quiet and you smile. But when you get around like-minded people, you share ideas, you learn new things, and we all move forward together.
Wow, very powerful. Another thing she brought out about network marketing, having a home-based business, right? Sometimes you can't talk this with people that's thinking about football season, or like she said, Tom Brady doesn't write her check. that people that mind is, oh, America will never get that bad or this bad. They're not realizing that China and Russia, Turkey, those countries are not even accepting the United States dollar right now. They're not even realizing that China and Russia has, for the last 10 years, been building its own natural gas pipeline. They're not realizing news like this, that 3 million barrels of oil, right? 3 million barrels of oil will be lost by November. Again, OPEC also meets September the 5th. Less production for the United States of oil. Joe Biden went and asked OPEC if they could produce 1.2 million gallons of oil. Most people don't know who OPEC is. OPEC is the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, right? It was founded in 1960. It's composed of Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Venezuela. And so there's not going to be enough barrels of oil beginning into September the 5th, and definitely by November, to adequately supply Americans that's going to keep gas prices at the rate that you're seeing it now. The national average right now is under $4 a gallon. So what you can do is, if you an employee and you have a job, is you can reduce the amount of FICA taxes and federal taxes that's coming out of your paycheck that makes you a corporation. It's so many people that cheer people on for knowledge. You know, Kathy said it's so good, for example, to see this sister still in the fight. And Kathy, so many people cheer people on that's fighting, and they want to say exposing the IRS is illegal. But again, they don't want to take the actions to pay little to no taxes. And the thing about it is very inexpensive and low operating fees on a monthly basis to do that. It takes the mindset. Once you've been exposed to information, you should have the desire to change. But most people don't. And as she brought out about Hurricane Katrina, most people had equity built in their homes during Hurricane Katrina, but they didn't have the credit to pull that equity out and to leave New Orleans, because now they could not pull the equity cash out of their homes because they had bad credit. And so texting cash flow to the number on the screen will also help you increase your take-home pay. If you have a job, if you're a small business owner, it will help you increase and do things like pay your children, if you have children, to work in the business, something you cannot do in your own traditional business. Write off the square footage of your house or an apartment, something you cannot do, right? For example, with an S corporation, you cannot have home office deductions if you're in the S corp. You can have home rent, but you cannot have home office deduction. So these are, again, the 470 plus ways to get money back to you, so you can take that money and have enough money to invest and to deal with inflation that we're dealing with. Also, another quick video that I want to share with you is this one. My cousin actually uploaded this video on his Facebook page, and I thought it's very powerful. He's very young, but yet he understands the difference between an employee versus having a business, right?
Hey guys, check this. Getting money as an employee versus getting money as a business owner is completely different. As an employee, you make your money first. Then you pay Uncle Sam, the IRS, second, and what's left over third is to be spent on rent, car payments, groceries, etc. But when you're a business, you make your money first. You get to spend your money second on rent, cars, utilities, things that are tax deductions for your business. Then third, you pay Uncle Sam, which will leave more money in your pocket. If billionaires can do it, why can't you?
That's the $1 million question. If billionaires can do this, It's not hard, as my mentor said on a live stream. It's not hard getting rich. You just have to see what the rich do and do what they do, not talk about what they do, not having lip service and not taking action. 470 business tax deductions is the most you're going to get out of any business entity, LLC, S corp, or corporation. Again, I'm teaching my daughter these principles. She has her articles of incorporation, right? She has this through the home-based business. She has her cell phone in the home and her business name. She gets residual income. She decides to go back to college. I'm not for college, but I'm not against it, right? That's what she wants to do. I give her free choice. And the residual income that she earned from the home-based business, she paid her college tuition with. No debt to go to college. So with the residual income that you can earn through the home-based business and through getting your money back so you can invest instead of getting the government that 30%, right? It's not smart to get a tax refund, people. Re means again, and fund means money. And especially not smart when you're getting a tax refund and you're not investing it. See, rich and wealthy people put their money in assets, things that make them money. The middle class put their money in liability, things that take their money. The rich and wealthy use credit cards and debt to get assets and equity. As Beyonce said, pay me in equity and watch me reverse out of debt. The poor working class and the middle class use debt to get things that take money out of their pocket, like a car note. And they don't even understand, or a vehicle note. They don't even understand the tax write-off that they can have through that, especially through a home-based business. Or maybe they get a house, one of the biggest purchases you make in your lifetime, and they don't implement the home-based business to have the tax write-offs, people. So I'm signing off. Patrice, thank you for the 1111 super chat. I'm just really seeing that because I was paying attention on Miss Sherry Peel Jackson. Thank you always for your support and also for being a member of the channel and being my moderator. I really appreciate that. And being faithful and hopping on the live streams whenever you can. And as I always do, according to Deuteronomy 1:11, may the Lord thy God increase you 1,000 times more and bless you. Also, you all, if you want to visit my website, queenofcornsilver.com, visit that website as well, right? If you want to implement these strategies Miss Sherry Peel Jackson was talking about through the home-based business, so you can have the extra money to invest, I want you to text cash flow to the number on the screen, 254-788-1144. Again, this is a way to get more of your money back. No other home-based business that I know of teaches people how to get an instant pay raise out of their paycheck and increases their credit scores at the same time, right? Most home-based businesses just tell you to push more products to try to get more capital, but they don't teach you how to keep more of that money that you can make. Now, if you are already making extra money, because on average, a home-based business can bring you in up to $32,000 annually a year, then at least know how to keep more of that money that you're making, right? You can also go to my website, Crypto Queen 1111. You know, those are my numbers, and get the game plan, how to get massive wealth and pay no taxes or little taxes legally. That's the key word in this, legally. So thank you all for tuning in. I'm looking forward to helping you increase your credit scores and your cash flow and get a home-based business, people. Only 4 months left in the year. We're going to see inflation spike again with these higher gas prices. Thank you all. Thank you, Patrice. I appreciate you as well. Oh, Allison says, hey, hello, Queen. Not sure what you are doing. Allison, I'm not even gonna say that, but I'm not even gonna tell you my secret. But thank you, Allison. I appreciate you for that lovely compliment. You're welcome. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you all for saying hello. Enjoy your Saturday. Michael said he just came in. Michael, if you just came in, I recommend that you watch it from the beginning. Right, a very powerful video about how to stick it to the IRS, about Joe Biden adding new tax, 87,000 employees that's going to hurt the middle class even more and the poor working class, going to audit those persons and going to do exactly the opposite of what he said he was going to do, teaching you how taxation is really not legal, but teaching you legal ways to pay less taxes. And if you can look on my backdrop, you'll see, right, that a person that earns a W-2, or if you look on the clipboard, right, if you're an employee, you're taxed 28 to 30% out of your paycheck, sometimes even more. 40%, you can get that money right back in 24 hours by texting cash flow. If you're a specialist, which means a doctor or a lawyer or independent contractor, right, employees are taxed first, but specialists in the S bracket, this is Robert Kiyosaki cash flow quadrant. That's why I have the text cash flow. Specialists, if you are sole proprietor, you have your own independent business, right? Then you are taxed even more. The more money you make, the more the government takes. You're taxed 40 to 50%. A home-based business help you get all of this money back. Also know about the silent tax. The inflation tax is not really silent anymore, right? But if you shift the way your money is earned through a home-based business and begin to get taxed, just like big businesses, big franchises, just like Warren Buffett, right? For example, Warren Buffett quote is not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep. And most middle class people interpret that as how much money can I save after I paid all my bills and expenses, right? No, he's talking about how much money you can keep from the IRS. She also reveals who the IRS really is. It's no federal than FedEx. That's something else people need to know, right? And so what you want to do is get the money you're earning taxed at 10 to 20%. So now you have an extra or additional 20% of money to invest, and investing income is taxed at 0%. She also talked about gold, silver, real estate, and cryptocurrency, this new currency system. So I'm teaching the middle class that silver, because you get a better return on your investment through silver, right? Gold is about $1,800 an ounce. And then we have some big cryptocurrency events coming up. I'm starting with Ethereum on September the 15th, a big merge. I'm also reminding you all that this is Shemitah year. Shemitah year is the biblical calendar for an economic system reset and a jubilee. That happens starting September the 26th, which is my born date on this earth realm. And when Shemitah year begins or ends, the beginning of recession and depression happens. So we're going to see high inflation. You're going to see less food available, right? Like she said, there's no way the government can repay its debt. And as a video that I did earlier on this live stream on my channel, also make sure you are subscribed to my channel, right? Be a subscriber so you can get the notifications. So subscribe to the channel, Queen Millionaire Moves. But in that, we talk about in 1971, how the United States removed the dollar from being backed by gold, which is real money, gold and silver. And silver is also industrial use for these electronic vehicles, 5G Wi-Fi, RFID chips, cell phone batteries. Everybody's going to need a cell phone, even in the poorest of countries right now, with central banks' digital currency. And central banks' digital currency will not be backed by anything but technology, where our current cash system is not backed by anything either. And with the United States not drilling on its federal land and needing OPEC and other countries to export barrels of oil in, which is going to be very low, it's not even the petrodollar anymore. So the rich understand the concept of investing cash into an asset like a home-based business, gold, silver, cryptocurrency, and real estate, right? So thank you all. Why Crew says you have not been getting my notifications. Make sure that you right next to the subscribe button. Maybe that'll help. Hit that bell right next to it. That may help you get the notifications. And if not, try unsubscribing and then subscribing again, right? Text cash flow. Let me help you get your money back so you can invest and you can prepare for this recession that will evolve into a depression. You do not want to be, and she mentioned about Hurricane Katrina, in a position where you're not able to leave the country in the event that you will have to. And people, it really is predicted to get just that bad, that you cannot afford. And also know that cryptocurrency, certain cryptocurrency, not all, and silver and gold is outside of the government system. And the home-based business push you outside of the government's taxation system. That's why you need a home-based business. Not should have, but you need one that have CPAs, certified public accountants, and CFAs, certified financial advisors, that will keep you up to date on the tax laws, especially if you're a small business owner, right? You don't need a CPA that's not attending the yearly tax convention meetings and laws changing, that's keeping you updated and informed. Also, sometimes small business owners do not have the best personal credit. Get your personal credit up so you can start leveraging and using business credit, right? Again, text that number on the screen. Let me help you get more of your money back. If you're an employee, within 24 hours. If you're a small business owner, you're going to see that within the 4 months. You only have 4 months left, approximately in 10 days or 11 days in August, to get these 470 tax deductions for 2022. Don't let time expire. And you can start next year, but it makes financial sense to start today, or even yesterday in that case. Hey, I'm signing out, you all. Again, subscribe to the channel, text cash flow to that number on the bottom, and visit my website, Crypto Queen 1111. Thank you all for tuning in. Queen out.